All right, revised agenda, meeting of Scituate Board of Health, Wednesday, February 17, 2016, the WPA Building in North Scituate, 6 o'clock, meeting called to order. I will take a motion to open the meeting and...
Motion to open the meeting.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, first up, discussion vote. These wonderful people in front of us regarding fats, oil, and grease, fog regulations, and compliance requirements for establishments currently without a grease trap. And this is you, and we're talking about a variance request for Egypt Country Store.
Yes.
And if you could just both kindly state your names and everything when you speak, so we have everything on record.
Marcia Robitel?
Robert Newsom.
All right, beautiful. So, Jen, you want to catch us up to date here, or?
Sure. So in January, we sent letters to each of the small establishments without grease traps to identify how they were going to come in compliance. And there were a couple of options, which we outlined in the letter. Was, the first one being that they install a grease trap and provide us with all the documentation, specs, and plumbing records associated with that. Or if they were going to request a variance, the letter outlined a summary of the regulations, providing the information that was requested to be provided to you folks as part of that variance request. So the folks at Egypt Country Store had, in the fall, submitted the fats, oils, and grease regulations questionnaire, which they documented that they don't currently have a grease trap, and then subsequently provided documentation on February 7th in anticipation of this meeting, outlining that they were requesting a variance in writing and why they believed that the variance request should be granted. So they outlined their menu, how that menu is prepared on site, and how any grease is disposed of. So I will turn it, unless you have any specific questions, I would turn it over to the owners of Egypt Country Store to...
Sure, let's hear it.
Well, we have a private septic system, and when we were first involved in this regulation coming into, I went to the meetings, and it was applied at first to anybody on the municipal system. We have a private septic system.
I can see that, yep.
And we have never allowed grease or oil or fog down the drain, because that's our dollars that are going to have to be
Of course,
put forward to
pumping it out
repair.
and dealing with it.
So we've been very conscientious about that. Most of my equipment, my menu's designed with as little fat, oil, or grease as possible because of our septic system. And that's been in place since we've had the sandwiches, etc. My equipment is all non-submersible. It's a panini grill, fudge steam kettles and microwaves. Nothing can be submersed. So it has to be cleaned in place with wash, rinse, sanitize, with disposable one-use paper towels, and then into the rubbish and properly disposed of. So, and all the water that comes in, we don't use a lot of water, as you can see by the attached water bill.
Right.
And all the stuff that comes in doesn't go out, because we have coffee, we make fudge with it. So it's a minimal use of water, and it's a minimal, if any, fat, oil, and grease, especially because it's a private septic system.
Correct. Right, so it'll fall on your dime if something happens.
Exactly.
And Jen, you said Nellie doesn't really have any issues with what goes on in there, and
So,
she's okay with it?
yeah, so of course, Nellie is our eyes and ears throughout town as she goes about doing her inspection. So I did inquire as to her professional opinion associated with your variance request. And she, summarized the menu just as you have done here. So she confirmed that the menu was true, accurate, and complete. And also that with the way food was prepared here, the fact that they were on private septic, but that the preparation and volume of fats, oils, and grease would, in her opinion, not be greater than that, and actually would probably be less than that from a regular residential kitchen, preparing breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So, based on her experience with the food industry, not necessarily the septic side of things, but from the food industry, she did not voice any concerns with the volume of fats, oils, or grease that they were producing.
Well, there's a glowing recommendation.
Nothing is going down my cesspool.
No, I hear you, obviously.
Nothing.
Right, it would cost you money, I totally understand. Especially with repairs and your pump outs, I understand. Russell, Doug, do either of you have
The only
comment issue?
only question I have, do you have logs of when they pump yours? I don't know, your quarterly or every 6 months?
It hasn't been done in a couple of years. There's never anything in there. It's just a waste of time usually.
Okay.
Because we don't use, I use the house, I live across the street. I don't want anything in there. I go across the street.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Yeah, we don't have a file or
Okay.
any records on the existing septic system located at the store.
Russell?
Yeah, my only concern is in the future with your septic system, and that's all, because...
No way, no grease is ever going down.
Yeah, I know, but
No room on that
I think
property
my point
for-
is with Nellie saying what she said, I mean, I can understand, and I think I see where the board's going, but if something was to happen, then when the septic system's redone, then probably we'd revisit this, if you were to continue with what you have, just to put some sort of an interceptor in.
Yeah.
Inside the building.
Yeah, I don't foresee ever put, I mean, it's,
We never do, we never.
for years I'm like,
Please don't jinx it.
Well,
for 35 years I'm protected that thing.
well,
I don't know if we have any record of the system or anything else, but my concern would be more for the repair of that system.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is your private system, and I get it. The only person it's going to affect is you.
Oh.
I think if it does, the thing I'm worried about is the variances and the reinstallation of the system, and
Well-
making sure it doesn't happen again.
Right.
well, Jen's done a wonderful job at a suggested motion, and the last sentence of the suggested motion is the establishment of service by private sector system, as we have been talking about. Variance, if the variance is granted, however, it can be reviewed, modified, or revoked by the Board of Health at any time in the future. So, obviously, we all know that if there's an issue with the septic system, they're gonna have to come to us with the plans and everything
Right.
anyway, so we'll know what's going on. So at that point, we can either reconvene, we can talk about what sort of, system you wanna put in, or we feel that you need to put in, but knock on wood, hopefully it will never have to come to that, and you can use the thing till we're all blue in the face, so.
And even something as simple as if the menu changes, if you all of a sudden
It
decide that
it
you want
can't,
to.
it can't change.
I'm just saying the what ifs,
Yeah.
let's say,
If, yeah.
if all of a sudden you woke up one morning and said, we want to start making hamburgers, and wanted to redesign, and all of the things that go with it, that would be another, a change of menu would be a reason to revisit
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
this discussion, is
Sure.
what I'm saying.
It won't happen.
We have a
It
restaurant
would
in
be, it would
Brimfield.
be a very big,
and
expensive hamburger.
We
Yeah.
took out the fry later for the french fries. What a difference. You don't smell when you go home. The ceiling's constant.
Where do you have your restaurant?
Brimfield.
Brimfield, for the antique show out there.
Oh, I get it, okay, very good.
You cannot believe how much comes out of that fry later. It is
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
disgusting.
sure.
I won't even eat a french fry.
We have a program, Bob's a veteran, and we train, I'm a ServSafe proctor instructor, and I train veterans, in particular some homeless veterans that friends of ours have introduced to us. And I do pop-up restaurants and train them in food service and get them certified so that they can go out and get a job. And we've had very great success with people getting out of the shelter and getting...
100%.
So-
No one. A week with us, they do not go back to the shelters.
That's pretty good.
Great.
It's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
That's
They bring their families, we've reunited people with their children.
That's
It's been pretty amazing.
excellent to hear.
But we're getting more than they...
Oh, yeah, we are. We've been pretty much.
Really, it's
Yeah, that's excellent.
been a
to
great
hear.
experience for us.
That's excellent.
Wonderful, so it is.
All right, anybody else? Jen, Russell, everybody's voiced their
Yep.
opinions, concerns, and caveats, and anything else we need to go over?
Yeah. Make a motion to,
You want to read that? The suggested motion?
make a motion to approve the variance requested for installation of grease trap at Egypt Country Store as requested by the representative for the establishment. The variance allows for operation of the establishment without installing a grease trap based on current conditions and operations. The establishment is serviced by a private septic system. This variance is granted. However, it can be reviewed, modified, or revoked by the Board of Health at any time in the future. So understandably, if there's problems there, then we may have to revisit, as long as you guys understand that, and that's our action, so.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All
All right.
right, thank you
There we
very
go.
much.
Thank you for everything, thank you for your service. That's a great
Okay.
thing you're doing with the veterans.
Thanks.
That is a wonderful thing.
All right, yeah, we tend to lock people up in cages and
Now you can go outside, because I think it's warmer outside than.
I know, I think it is too.
they lose their motivation, they lose everything, and just, you get out,
I
working
agree.
with the public.
That's a good
They
thing.
get money.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Have a good night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, have a good one. Have a good night.
Good night.
All right, item number 2 on our agenda, discussion/vote, proposed changes to section 10230, criminal and non-criminal disposition of the bylaw violations of the general bylaws. That's a mouthful.
Yes. Taken right from the bylaws themselves.
So what did we find out, Jen, from our last meeting? And should we fill Doug in exactly? I don't know if you filled in, Doug, exactly what we were planning on, what we're proposing to do.
So it had been brought to my attention that multiple boards and committees were visiting the idea of increasing the fines associated with their particular bylaws. So I've provided a copy of section 10230, the criminal and non-criminal disposition of bylaw violations. The planning board and conservation commission are considering requesting at town meeting that this bylaw be revised such that their associated fines would, instead of the current dollar value, indicate that a fine could be provided up to $300, as you'll see as an example next to the stormwater bylaw. So each of the boards and committees appears to be
Increasing.
looking at this to see if in fact they want to request the same at town meeting. So where we fall under this is section 30350, which is the housing standards, also known as the housing bylaw. And currently our fines are $20. In my tenure here, we have not issued one. We have been fortunate enough to be able to gain compliance and efforts being made on behalf of either owners or occupants without needing to go this route, but the option is here. So you had requested at the last meeting.
So section 30700, that's not us either, the Board of Health regulations? The next one down?
It is, but it basically explains what our duties are. It doesn't explain, where our enforcement would come in.
Okay.
It's really pertaining to the housing bylaw.
Well, why is that? I'm a little confused why that is.
And there is a fine for $25.
Yeah,
it says.
I'm a little confused why that is.
Of course, I did not bring my copy of the bylaws since we're not in our building. Again, I would have to go back, pull our bylaws out, and bring you a copy.
Only
of
for
that
consistency
section.
reasons, I think we should make, if both of those are enforceable by us, I think they should both be the same fine and/or consistent up to fine. That's my opinion.
I agree.
So we do have a role to play in section 3070, which I believe is primarily the wetlands protection bylaw. I have not had the need to review that section of the bylaws. I've only been actively engaged in the housing bylaw.
Yeah, I'm just
Right.
curious, I just want to make everything consistent. When does the warrant close?
There is a placeholder for this. I have not received a date for the warrant actually closing.
So is this, do we have to have this actionable tonight, or do you want it actionable tonight?
It's available to be actionable tonight. It's listed on
On
the
the
agenda as
agenda, yeah.
being discussed vote, so that it could be actionable if you so chose.
I think within the language we have where it's up to $300, I wouldn't have a problem with.
So just whatever the conservation, just the other section, just swing that up there, up to $300?
I think because it's up to, and we have the authority to levy it as we see fit by the severity of the violation.
Yeah.
So if it's something minor, we can have a little fine. If they want to be persistent with it, then we can counteract.
And it can be tiered too.
Like first
you know,
offense, second.
Right. So, and that's the direction I think that both the planning and conservation agents are looking for. You know, the ability, you know, I spoke to both of them about their rationale, and they indicated that they've seen repeat non-compliance, and they feel as though the current structure and their current fining capabilities are not enough of a deterrent for the, you know, any large-scale project or repeat issue to be addressed.
Of course.
Despite the fact that each day is considered a separate finable offense, you know, that it just,
The way I read that too on the stormwater, that's planning and/or conservation
It
agent,
is.
so they could probably double whack them, I would assume. Can you find them from one and the other? Not that it matters at this meeting, it really doesn't.
Yeah, no, it's one or the other. It's the same bylaw, so it would be one offense. If it would be multiple offenses,
Yeah.
you know, they might have that discretion. But each violation, you know, could be administered by either agent.
So I see the email that you had sent out to us a few days ago with the first offense, second offense, third offense.
So that was that was an example. I did a bunch of searching to see, you had asked, you know, what other towns are doing. And the only town that I could find that had a specific
Tiered level.
a specific housing bylaw with a specific fine structure that went beyond non-criminal disposition and Mass General Law, which says up to $300. The only town that I could find Googling was Ashland, and they have, you know, a very specific housing code, tiered offense structure for fining. They go 100, 200, 300, which is exactly what we do for our tobacco regulations.
Right.
So, although not a bylaw, it's the same rationale that you folks came up with when developing the tobacco regulations, giving leeway, you know, the up to a dollar value, and then in the terms of tobacco, you know, restricting their permit as well. The other boards of health that I found were a general fine structure using the non-criminal disposition as well. Stoneham has a tiered approach to within a certain time period, but their dollar value is much smaller. It's $25, $50, and $100. Tisbury, Marshfield, they essentially seem to follow non-criminal disposition, Chapter 40, Section 21D of Massachusetts General Laws, where it says the assessment shall be, you know, up to $300. So most towns, I just pulled a few examples, but most towns seem to rely on the non-criminal disposition in a general sense, and up to $300 is the maximum allowable fine under those general laws.
Correct. Right in line with what the state allows.
Right. So giving some flexibility, but also the maximum option under the law.
Yeah,
So that was-
I just agree. I think we should come up with the times, and that's it. You've got the tool if you need to use it. If you don't, it sits in the drawer.
That's right. Monetary amount suggestions, 100, 200, 300, just like,
Or I would say, like he said earlier, up to the 300.
Up to.
so you don't want to do a tiered system? We'd rather just do up to 300 and leave it at Jen's discretion or our discretion?
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Now, would we do the other section 30700?
Not until she finds out
Okay.
if that's,
So that's that.
Really under the
I wish
purview,
I'd brought them
really under the
with me.
purview of us.
Yeah, I apologize, I didn't bring a copy of the bylaws with me to provide you
Okay,
with that
so if we
section.
change that to match the section 32050, just up to 300, the same thing as the stormwater bylaw that the Planning and Conservation Commission have, and/or agent have. So that says agent, so that means you, Jen, so it's not us who's assessing the fine, it's actually the agent, correct?
Right, that's
Okay,
correct.
so that's your purview,
Or personnel designated, so, for example.
or Nellie.
Right, if Nellie were to do our inspections, or if we had a separate housing inspector, we could designate them as being able to fine.
Okay, okay.
And same thing with section 30700.
So the question remains, do you want to wait until the next meeting to find out about section 3070, or would you like us to make this actionable now and?
Geez, I just gotta go back to that. I don't know, I kinda like the control within the board, with fines. I don't know.
But that's not what we're talking about here. I'm going by the way that it's read.
Yeah.
Director of Public Health and Personnel, and then I'm looking at the stormwater bylaw, which says planner or conservation agent.
Yeah. it's
So
just-
that's not us. And the wetlands protection bylaw says conservation agent. Zoning bylaws is the building commissioner as assistant, so the assistant building, so that's an individual, that's not a board.
I just like the idea that if,
That's only for this,
It's
we
a-
can still assess fines for other things, that's only for this matter.
I'm not worried about the fines, it's
Right,
just
well-
where the power lies, because if somebody has a problem with somebody outside, we're kind of that buffer. If somebody has a problem with Nellie, they can come to us, you know what I mean?
Right.
We're kind of either the good guy or the bad guy. And same with Jen, I mean, if she has a problem with somebody, she's gonna haul them in before the board. If somebody has a problem with her,
They can come.
they're gonna ask to come before the board, and we're kind of the judge, and I guess if we have second guess on the fine, if somebody didn't like it, they could come in and see us. It seems like it starts to get out of our control, it starts to get out of the town's control. You don't know who you hire, or if they have a beef with somebody, and maybe it's personality, and next thing you know, they're slapping them with a fine. Hey,
Right.
I can do this to you.
But these are the
Right.
bylaws, this is like turning a battleship, this is something that we can't change,
The way,
the way it's written, we
the only thing
can't.
we can change is the fine,
Correct.
yeah.
Unless separately, and we wouldn't be able to make it in time for this town meeting, but revisit the housing bylaw or, section 30700 Board of Health Regulations, those two bylaws and recommend.
I hear what
they go
you're
to
saying,
town.
Russell, I hear what you're saying, is that let us be the good cop, bad cop, and let them, but that's not the way this is written, this says agent, which
Right.
in this case is her.
In
Yeah.
terms of,
Or
in terms of
conservation
assessing the
agent, or-
fine.
And as far as almost the agent doesn't bother me, it's just an outside, even a third person, because we don't really ever have any contact with those people, we wouldn't really
Right,
know.
right.
The board is, I mean, we have close contact with you.
Right.
See you once every 2 weeks, and sometimes in between that.
Right.
Know what's going on and what's here and there, but that one's kind of a far out. She does a great job, there's no knock on the job, it's just, and it could be the next person down the line and not her. You could have somebody with a bad attitude that could be just
Flinging fines left and right.
bingo.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what I'm afraid of.
Right.
That's why I think having a board like this is
We
great.
probably won't be in the board when that happens.
Probably not, but who knows? But that's my concern, and I
Right.
understand it's written that way, and maybe there is nothing we can do, and it's just, but I do like the idea of the fine. I think the fines are too low to begin with anyways.
Okay, so let's make a motion to change it up to $300, copying the same thing as the stormwater bylaw, section 32050, and just go up to $300.
I'll make that motion in Steve's words.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right,
So just a quick question, so would that be applicable to 350 or?
Yeah,
350 plus 700?
700 we can't do until you figure out exactly what that is. Agreed?
Sure.
We can always do it next time if we have to. Just put it on the agenda.
I will.
Or if it's something that you don't even think it's worth it, just send us an email and just say, I don't think we need to worry about it.
Yeah, I'll send you a copy of that section of the bylaw. Typically, I have them with me, but
Yeah,
for the
once we
change
know
of
the
venue, I
final-
didn't bring it with me.
The final date, because the whole idea of this is to get it for this year, so we don't
Right.
visit it next year,
Right,
so.
right.
I just throw it out there, if we need to have a quick emergency
Yeah.
maybe to, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I have no problem with that, you know, we can do it.
Okay. Next, item 3 on our agenda, discussion Dana-Farber's mammography van. And that sounds like a good idea. When is it coming?
So, got some information. So, we just wanted to alert you to a public health program that's coming to town, as well as anybody who either watches the meetings or visits us on Scituate Community TV. So I will read the specific information provided by Dana-Farber. The Scituate Health Department is pleased to announce that we will be hosting Dana-Farber's mammography van on Thursday, April 7th, 2016, from 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. The van will be parked at Central Park, which is located at 67 Branch Street in Scituate. If you are a woman aged 40 or older and would like to schedule an appointment, please contact the mammography van office, which is 617-632-1974. Screening mammograms are performed by Dana-Farber mammography technologists and read by board-certified radiologists. The van offers convenience and outstanding service while possessing a valid license and certification of inspection issued by the Massachusetts Department of Public Health. If you need transportation to the appointment, the senior center may be able to provide transportation, and their number is 545-8722. Some specifics beyond that is there are 40 appointments available within that time slot. Each woman is asked to prepare to allot between 30 and 40 minutes for check-in, screening, and exit interviews. Eligibility guidelines are medical, they are not financial. So contacting Dana-Farber directly, they will be able to go through how you set up the appointment and any insurance needs that are required.
And did we do this last year?
We did not do this last year. She has been working with Dana-Farber since last fall to get this program here in April. So we are hoping that it will be a resounding success and we can build a partnership.
How are people gonna know about it?
So I described the program, the basic description yesterday at the Selectmen's meeting. It's being described here. It is on our website, it is on Facebook, it is on this poster here, is on Scituate Community TV, both on TV and online and through their social media. It is also going to be, if it not has already been, in the Mariner. So
my guess is 40 appointments will probably fill up pretty quick.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Eileen also
I hope
went
so.
to many establishments in town and put posters up.
Oh, good.
She did. These
She did
posters are
several.
Well,
throughout
that's
town
a-
at pharmacies,
That's a good thing,
restaurants.
that's a good thing.
What's the
It is.
date?
It's
April
Thursday,
7th.
April 7th, 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m.
That's a good thing.
That's really
Yeah, that's a good thing.
So we're excited
Good for the
about
town.
that.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep, we're very excited about it, and Eileen has worked really hard
She has.
to coordinate the program and get them here.
Beautiful.
So,
Excellent. All right. Other business, administrative invoice approvals and meeting minute approvals. I will be honest, I have not read the minutes that you emailed
Do you wanna
yesterday and
wait?
today. I don't, if these two guys have, then I will
I know it was pretty late.
flip through them. I honestly have not.
Yeah, I haven't.
Okay,
I haven't.
okay,
so.
it's waited this long, it's okay if it waits 2 more weeks. It's fine.
Can we make a motion to bring these chairs back to town hall?
All in favor? Comfortable.
They're comfortable, you like those?
All right, I guess that's it. Jen, any other new business you want to go over or anything? Other business? Nothing? Beautiful. All right. Make a motion.
Make a motion to close the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Meeting closed. Beautiful. Thank you.